The 1995 Arnold Classic wasn't just another edition of the show. It turned into a true turning point in bodybuilding history, mainly because it went against expectations and shattered predictions that seemed locked in even before the athletes stepped on stage. That night proved one thing loud and clear. In bodybuilding, nothing is decided until the final pose down. Held in Columbus, the city where the event was born and built its legacy, the Arnold Classic already carried massive prestige throughout the 1990s. But in 1995, that prestige felt even heavier. Everyone in the crowd knew they were about to witness something special, with one of the strongest and most competitive lineups of the decade sharing the same stage. At that time, bodybuilding was going through a major transition. The 90s were redefining the standard physique, bringing athletes who were more complete, denser, and far more competitive. The 1995 Arnold Classic perfectly captured that shift, showing that the sport was entering a new phase, more intense, more unpredictable, and far less forgiving. What made that edition truly historic wasn't just the technical level, but the emotional impact of the final result. The show crowned an unexpected champion, breaking the logic of the favorites and reminding fans, athletes, and experts alike that preparation, timing, and stage presence on show day are everything. When the competitors started walking out at the 1995 Arnold Classic, very few people could have predicted how the night would end. Francois wasn't listed among the top betting favorites, and that's exactly why his performance hit so hard. From the very first poses, it was clear something different was happening. Francois' physique stood out for a very specific combination of qualities. He wasn't just big, and he wasn't just aesthetic. His body showed a rare mix of muscle density, balanced proportions, and a thick, solid look that radiated strength and competitive maturity. Surrounded by already established names, he managed to stand out without relying on exaggeration. As the comparisons went on, surprise slowly turned into tension. The usual favorites began to realize this wouldn't be an easy night. Mike stayed calm and confident, holding his poses with authority, while the crowd reacted louder and louder to what they were seeing on stage. The moment of victory carried enormous symbolic weight. By winning the title, Mike became the first athlete from Columbus to ever claim the Arnold Classic crown. For the audience, it wasn't just a sports win. It felt personal, celebrated with real emotion and hometown pride. Before the show even began, the script seemed already written. The most talked about name as the future champion was Flex Wheeler, an athlete known for near-perfect aesthetics, clean lines, and a competitive resume that demanded respect. For many fans and analysts, this was expected to be just another natural title in his career. Alongside Wheeler, another strong pick in the predictions was Charles Claremont. With experience, size, and strong stage presence, Claremont represented the exact type of athlete who usually dominated major competitions at that time. The general consensus was that the real battle would come down to these established names. But the stage has its own rules. As the comparisons continued, it became obvious that something wasn't following the usual pattern. Mike delivered instant visual impact, showing razor-sharp conditioning, impressive muscle density, and a level of confidence that stood out even next to seasoned champions. What once seemed impossible started to become real. Mike wasn't just keeping up with the favorites, he was outshining them in overall presence. His presentation balanced size, definition, and posture, creating a stronger visual impression for both the judges and the crowd. When the final results of the 1995 Arnold Classic were announced, there was no denying how extraordinary that lineup truly was. The final standings didn't just confirm Mike's historic win, they also highlighted how deep and competitive the field was that year. Francois took first place, followed by Flex Wheeler in second and Charles Claremont in third. That trio alone would already define a world-class contest. But the list didn't stop there. Fourth place went to Andreas Munzer, known for his extreme conditioning, while fifth was Lee Labrada, one of the greatest symbols of aesthetics and consistency of the era. Right behind them came Aaron Baker and Ian Harrison, athletes who were always known for delivering solid, reliable performances on stage. Rounding out the top 10 were Darrem Charles, Lee Priest, and Henderson Thorne, names that would either go on to define an era or were already highly respected on the pro circuit. Places 11 through 14 went to David Fisher, David Dirth, Leif Langbacka, and Michael Davidas. Just having these athletes on the lineup reinforces an impressive truth. The 1995 Arnold Classic brought together established legends and future icons of world bodybuilding on a single stage. The event didn't make history only in the men's division. The women's contests also played a crucial role in solidifying the Arnold Classic as one of the most complete and prestigious events on the international bodybuilding calendar. Fans witnessed extremely high-level performances that helped strengthen these divisions even further. In the Ms. International, the standout of the night was Laura Creaval. By earning her third victory at the event, she didn't just add another title. She reinforced her status as one of the most consistent and respected athletes in the history of women's bodybuilding. Her consistency was just as impressive as her stage presence. Laura's win meant more than a single result. It symbolized the consolidation of a career built on discipline, longevity, and technical dominance. In an increasingly competitive field, winning 3 Arnold Classic titles was an achievement reserved for only a select few. Over in the Fitness International, the spotlight shifted to Carol Simple Marzetta, who secured her second win in the competition. The category was growing rapidly throughout the 1990s, and Carol stood out for combining physical performance, presentation, and consistency. These women's victories expanded the overall impact of the 1995 Arnold Classic. They showed that the event wasn't just a stage for big male names, but a truly complete showcase of global bodybuilding and fitness. The event wasn't special only because of the final results, but because of the caliber of athletes sharing the stage that night. The mere presence of legendary competitors elevated the show to historic status, turning it into a true meeting of generations in world bodybuilding. Among those names, 2 immediately stood out: Andreas Munzer and Lee Labrada. Munzer shocked everyone with his extreme conditioning, almost unbelievable for the time, while Labrada represented classic aesthetics, defined by symmetry, clean lines, and elegance on stage. It was the perfect contrast within a single contest. That clash of styles made one thing very clear to the audience. Bodybuilding in the 1990s didn't follow a single path. There were different training philosophies, physical approaches, and interpretations of what the ideal physique really meant. The 1995 Arnold Classic put all of those visions face to face, under the same lights. More than a competition, the event became a cultural snapshot of the sport at that moment. Young athletes watched established idols, while fans followed the physical evolution that was beginning to redefine elite standards. You could feel that bodybuilding was changing right in front of everyone's eyes. As the years passed, the 1995 Arnold Classic stopped being just a great contest and became a defining landmark of the 90s. It went down as one of those rare nights when everything lines up: elite-level competition, genuine emotion, and a result powerful enough to change careers forever. Mike Francois' victory completely reshaped his career. Up to that point, he was seen as a strong competitor, but not a central figure among the world's elite. After that night, Francois was recognized as a true protagonist of professional bodybuilding, proving that a stage can transform reputations in a matter of minutes. That championship also reinforced one of the sport's greatest truths. In bodybuilding, nothing is guaranteed until the very last second. Titles aren't won on reputation or past achievements, but on how you show up on contest day. The 1995 Arnold Classic locked that lesson into history once and for all. Decades later, fans still remember that edition not just because of the names involved, but because of the feeling it created. The emotional impact of that night in Columbus crossed generations and still gets mentioned whenever people talk about upsets, shock wins, and truly unforgettable moments in the sport. If the 1995 Arnold Classic taught us anything, it's that bodybuilding goes way beyond trophies and pre-show favorites. It's built on unique moments, unpredictable nights, and athletes who change their entire story the second the lights come on. And that's exactly why events like this are still alive in fans' memories today. Now I want to hear from you. Did this edition surprise you? Do you think Mike Francois won at the perfect moment? Or do you believe the favorites could have taken the title? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion is part of the conversation and helps keep this history alive. If this video brought you information, nostalgia, or even a new perspective on 1990s bodybuilding, go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps the channel keep delivering deep, well-researched, story-driven content like this. And if you want to go a step further, consider becoming a channel member. That support goes directly into this project and helps keep the legacy of bodybuilding's golden eras alive, with more complete and more frequent videos. Of course, if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe now and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. There's already another great video waiting for you on the end screen. Just click and keep going on this journey through the history, the legends, and the unforgettable moments of the sport. I'll see you in the next video.